friends. It's Stitch Gang The Tour Part 10. This is your host, Frank Rodriguez. I'm here with my co-host, DJ Trilly Ocean. He's a black belt in the Crystal Trail Fighting System. Tyrone, how are you?
Better fucking recognize. I'm great. It's a little chilly. I'm just taking I took a picture of you for my Instagram story and I gave you a scarf.
Oh, thank you for sophisticated podcasting. Also, I want you to make a sample DJ Trilly Ocean mix, maybe like a Spotify mix, and we can put it in the show notes, and then people can know like what DJ Trilly Ocean is all about when they look to hire you in Albuquerque or in anywhere in the Southwest. We
can share that Spotify playlist link with all of our Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, well, you can have we can have a regular playlist and then like a playlist that's all the songs, but the same songs, but 3 times. And that's for exclusive. So yeah, this week we were talking about Lil Peep, who you were much more familiar with. And then I really only started listening to him after he died, which was 2 months ago now, which is weird. But
that's sad. Yeah,
we didn't do an emergency podcast like John Caramanica because I didn't know who Lil Peep was, basically. Also, a few days before he died, I tried listening to him, and I think I just Googled him, and I listened to Awful Things, and I was like, this sucks. And then I really didn't get it. And then just his image just put me off so much. And then me and my roommate, our mutual friend Tyler, we were talking about music. And
does Tyler love Lil Peep? Does he like Lil Peep?
No, he doesn't. So I was like, yeah, Tyrone likes some weird shit. Like he likes this guy Lil Peep. Have you heard of him? And then he said no. So I put on Awful Things, and we were listening to it. I was like, isn't this bad? And he was like, yeah. And then as the song kept going, I was like, wait, I think I like this, but I ignored that feeling. And I said, no, I definitely don't like it. So I ignored my instinct to like this song, but now I actually like it. And it was like a 1 month, because we started preparing for this a month ago, and it was a 1 month turnaround to be like, oh wait, Lil Peep is actually awesome. And I wish I had realized this while he was alive. So yeah, when did you start listening to him, and what were your first impressions?
Because I am friends with children, I'd heard of the name, but I hadn't actually heard him. And funny enough, I I discovered Lil Pump sort of by accident because I got him and Lil Peep mixed up. So I guess it was a blessing in disguise, really. And one of my friends here, he is much more in tune with what's popular on SoundCloud, and he actually played the music video for Your Favorite Dress, the song he did with Lil Tracy off Castles 2. And I just remember thinking like, wow, this is really fucking good. And so I explored a little bit, but not as much as I did while prepping for this episode. And as I've noted with some of my friends, like I kind of felt like he was onto something big by mashing two genres that were liked by white kids. And in prepping for this episode, I went from liking him to really liking him. So
yeah, speaking of Lil Pump, I always saw him on Young Thugga the meme page, and just as like he was just like a funny like new rapper. I think he and Lil Pump look really funny. So if you put them in a 3x3 grid and then put one of the people in the grid as Death Grips, it's like funny because it's like, oh, none of these other people can be as good as Death Grips, so that's why this meme is funny. Or actually, it's like doubly ironic because it's like there's people who will look at it and think that Death Grips is way better, but actually, I would say Lil Peep and Lil Pump are way better than Death Grips.
Wait, you're not a Death Grips fan? You don't like Death Grips?
No, I don't like Death Grips.
Okay, all right.
It's pretentious to me. You should listen to Blackie. Blackie is cool.
I've got Death Grips, dude. I'm chilling.
So he was just kind of like a silly face to me, but he had been working really hard since 2015, since he started putting out stuff. So yeah, we wanted to talk about Lil Peep. What I want to do is make sure we don't, it's tragic that he died, and not just because he was so talented, but he's just a 21-year-old kid, and he died. I don't know what the source was, but Wikipedia lists the cause of death as a fentanyl overdose, which I think he was probably just he probably was given something that he thought was Xanax, and it was actually fentanyl, and maybe he took too strong a dose, something like that. And a lot of his music is about drugs, so we'll have to talk about that, but I wouldn't really want to get into trying to interpret it through his death, stuff like that. In general, people are dying of fentanyl overdoses all over the country. It's just a horrible thing that's happening here. People don't grow fentanyl in their yards, so there's something going on.
It's a crisis sweeping the nation. So I guess what I gather from you saying all of this is that you don't think, had we paid attention to Lil Peep's lyrics, that his life could have been saved?
I don't
know. Well, what song is it where the lyrics are like, where he talks about, and I should have written this shit down, but
I mean, listen, we can talk about it, but it's just like, I don't want to make that the whole thing. Like, I'd also like to talk about.
Well, I mean, it's all lyrical content that like surrounds that like subject. It's like pretty much every song I discovered. And it seems like even after all of the success, he was still feeling all these dark thoughts. He was still thinking all of these dark things. I think that leads to a deeper issue, which I do not feel qualified to address nor explore. So,
yeah. Albuquerque has to be pretty badly hit by the whole opioid crisis, right?
Not so much opioids, but like meth and heroin.
Well, heroin is like it's opioid.
I guess not in a pill form, I suppose. Yeah.
But I mean, like a lot of what happens is people they'll get addicted to pills and stuff, and then they'll start doing
and it's kind of sad because in the wake of Lil Peep's unfortunate passing, I've noticed something of an uptick in Xanax usage in like a circle of acquaintances, and and every time I see it, because people have to flex on Snapchat, I have to respond to be like, "Yo, chill."
They're like, "Shut up, you straight edge dork."
Yeah, and I'm like, and I'm like, I understand you're not pumping out creative genius like Lil Peep was, but y'all need to slow your roll and chill. I don't need any more of my friends dying because of drugs.
Yeah. I don't know anyone who does it recreationally.
Well, I like to think Albuquerque is like 2 or 3 years behind every trend. So I figured it was about time for Xanax and other prescription drugs to start making their way into this area, or at least from a trendy perspective.
Right. As a party drug.
I definitely crushed up Adderall and junior high and snorted it in the lunchroom, but that's like not Xanax,
Yeah.
Nothing that intense.
So after we did the episode on XXX Tentacion, I was like, we can't do another discography of a SoundCloud rapper because it's way too confusing and they're way too prolific and shit. But here we are. We did it again. So.
Well, I know you went through Tentacion's SoundCloud. Would you say that Peep had more material than he did, or did Tentacion have more?
Yeah, I think Lil Peep has way more material. I didn't use SoundCloud to go through it. I downloaded Hellboy on DatPiff, Hellboy and Castles 2 on DatPiff. They didn't have all their stuff on DatPiff, man. Gotham Click needs to get on there.
Yeah. I couldn't find a lot of that stuff for download outside of like blogs that had stream rips. Yeah. So I ended up having to just play everything off the SoundCloud app, which is fine now that your boy's upgraded and everything. But like, it would be nice to have it so I don't have to like worry about my connections. But that's whatever. Yeah.
So I did that, and I listened to "Come Over When You're Sober" Part 1 on Spotify, and then I listened to everything else on YouTube in like full album form. But actually, I mean, I'm of the opinion that Hellboy and "Come Over When You're Sober" is his best stuff. So. That's also what I concentrated the most on. Yeah,
I neglected "Come Over When You're Sober" just a little bit because I was just becoming more familiar with his back catalog. But I feel like "Come Over When You're Sober" is his most polished effort, and it's
definitely
it's pretty fucking good. I feel like every song could have been a single for the most part.
So how do we talk about this? So you were saying he combines. He's combining two genres that kids are into.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So the last few years, every once in a while I'll listen to new metal and rap rock, and I'll be like, damn, this is I just love this. It's so bad, but also, there's a nostalgia there.
Mhm.
It's so over the top stupid, a lot of it. But I've had this feeling that rap rock was gonna come back. The new
Mhm.
metal and this combination was gonna come back somehow. And then the two bands that made me think that are Show Me the Body and Turnstile, which Turnstile is basically like they're like Rage Against the Machine
What the fuck is Show Me
revival.
the Body? I'm gonna have
Show
to
me.
take
Oh, you
notes
don't
down
know
now.
them? Oh, you have to listen to them. They're a New York band. They're kind of Lil Peep would have loved them because they play banjo. One of the singers plays banjo, but the lyrics are super like um hardcore punk. But all the quiet parts of their songs sound like indie rock songs. And then they kind of have like the singer Julian. He basically raps a lot, and they're affiliated with Rat King, the New
Oh,
York
okay, okay.
rap crew. What their song with Wiki Vernon, I think it is. That song's amazing. Wiki has a really great verse on that.
They have a song with Princess Nokia.
Yeah, yeah, they're like affiliated with all the young
Interesting.
rappers
They
in
have
New
they have
York.
a song with Denzel Curry. Holy shit! I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
save this.
yeah, they toured with Denzel Curry a
Interesting.
while
Wow.
back. Yeah, so but I had never, I had no inkling of the existence of Lil Peep, and then I listened to this and I was like, yes, this is what would have done it. Like if Lil Peep had not died, I swear to God, he would have been huge, and there would have been so many copycats of this shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think Lil Peep would have been huge.
No, no, and that's a conversation a friend and I had all the time when really it would be me being like, "Yo, I can't stop listening to Lil Peep. What's wrong with me?" And then my friend would respond with, "Yeah, I know." And then we would just talk about he's on the like him being on the verge of something huge. And then after he passed, and after digging into his back catalog, there's without a doubt he would have been the biggest the biggest thing on earth within maybe a year because he had the Come Over When You're Sober Part 2, Volume 2 that was supposed to come out, and
Hmm.
he speaks of an album with Makonnen that's supposed to drop at some point maybe. And I couldn't help but think based upon
Bisexual badasses.
yeah, yeah. Bisexual bridal shower for sure. But based upon the listenership and the people and the people that it consisted of, which weren't necessarily like dedicated music listeners, but more or less like fringe listeners. And when I saw their interest in Lil Peep and what he was doing, I couldn't help but, feel that he could have been huge. And based upon what I've heard thus far, it really bums me out that he's, not going to be pumping out a lot more new material.
Well, Smoke a Sack, who's one of his producers, he's saying that 2018 is going to be the biggest year for Lil Peep, and he actually says that Come Over When You're Sober Part 2 is going to come out. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do an episode on that. But for this one, we wanted to concentrate on everything. So yeah, I thought like, especially some of the last tracks on where he actually starts, yelling, doing like screaming lyrics. It's kind of like, oh man, this would have come out, and then everyone would be like, I hate that this is, people who didn't
Mm-hmm.
get it, they would be like, why is rap rock coming back? Why is new metal coming back? But I mean, but yeah, something else. Another point I wanted to make was before we delved really deep into it is that one big thought I had while listening to this is that Lil Peep is doing what XXXTentacion was, what he thought he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
because he combines these acoustic sounds and melodrama and depression and drugs and heartbreak with like melody and hip hop way better than anything XXXTentacion did. I mean, way better than like anything on 17. I mean, which is his like most like rock oriented work.
Mm-hmm.
If people are in love with him, like I don't know
Are
if
people in
they're
love with him? Have you heard a lot of buzz on Tentacion's LP? I think "Fuck Love" is the only song I've heard any like praise
well, I
for.
mean, in general, he has like a rabid following, and and
Yeah.
he was on like the Billboard chart, which was, I think it was with "Look at Me" was his biggest hit,
Hmm.
which is not a rock song, but I think like a lot of the people who liked that also thought he was like a genius for. Well, I don't know that much about his fan base, but
Oh, I was just going to say after you wrap this up, and I wanted to ask you a question that I saw posed on Nas's year-end list in the comments from him. Um, would you consider Lil Peep a rapper? Does he make rap songs?
yeah, I mean that's a tough question.
Hmm.
Is like anything with 808s on it like rap now, um,
Yeah,
in a certain
like
tempo?
our trap hi hats. Do
Yeah,
those make like a song rap? Because if they do, then Sam Hunt, the country artist, is making rap music too. So. But I mean, and I think to some degree, it is rap when you consider the attitude with which a lot of this stuff is delivered.
hmm
And granted, you have the musical aspect of it all as well.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing I thought with like with Number One Angel. Is it like does it become hip hop just because you're using black vernacular? It's like, well, I wouldn't want to reduce rap to just calling women bitches,
Yeah.
and talking about cars. I would say that the question of like whether someone's a rapper is becoming less relevant. He makes, I would say, 60% of his songs like are not rap songs.
Hmm.
I'd say maybe more than that. I don't know. I would, you would have to diagram it. And then maybe if like more than 40%, if more than 30% are rap songs, therefore we can consider him a rapper.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's an important question if you're talking about, top 50 rap songs.
Hmm. But in the traditional quote unquote traditional sense, it isn't. But I consider it rap music.
I mean,
I don't know.
we're rap fans,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is almost going to become a pop podcast. If Charlie X puts out one more mixtape, it's going to become a pop
Yeah.
podcast. And also, if we do an episode on the 12 Low album, which I kind of want to do, but we're rap fans and we like this.
I was a little bit hesitant to jump in because I wasn't because I knew what his deal was, and I was never a big fan of the music from which he draws his inspiration. Like My Chemical Romance and bands of that ilk. So
You're hardcore, not post-hardcore.
yeah, like you noted in the notes from the last episode, I didn't cry through Charlie XCX, so I'm hard as fuck. But I guess if I mention that, I will say that I would probably be more prone to cry along to a Lil Peep song than I would a Charlie XCX song, because
Mhm.
I feel like deep down I myself am a goth boy. Were you a fan of emo music? Were you a fan of like that
No,
shit?
no. I was into like Rage Against the Machine and Linkin Park, but I didn't like Panic at the Disco or My Chemical Romance or anything. I like Touche Amore. That's
That
emotional
doesn't count
hardcore,
though.
I think, right? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not like emo though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's emo in a sense that it's emotional, but
Yeah, but I didn't really get into a lot of that stuff. I mean, I recognize it on here and I like it in this
mhm.
form.
It's definitely in this form more palatable for me. Most definitely.
Yeah. I can't believe he just like did an interpolation of that Oasis song Wonderwall. Like on
Yeah.
one track. I was like, man, you're really making it overt here. This is a little too on the nose.
Or the Tom DeLonge sample.
Yeah, all this shit came out the same year. We're talking about the year of EXO tour life. So
Honestly, I think I'll look back on this year and hold it in high regard. To be honest with you.
yeah, I mean, I guess like I wasn't paying attention. Like if I had been oh, I mean, I will hold it in really high regard for music. I feel like in general,
Hmm.
music has just been pretty good. I guess I wasn't paying attention to Lil Peep, and then the first time I heard EXO tour life was in a lift in Las Vegas in like late May. And I was like, oh, this is that song. This is awesome.
Doing all of your research, and now that we're finished and we're actually discussing now, what would you say was your favorite track?
Yeah, so my favorite is probably the song they played when I crashed against the wall. It's off Hellboy with
That's a good one.
Lil
That's a
Tracy.
good one.
Most of that album is guitar driven, and this is like the same. I love Lil Tracy's verse on there. That's probably one of my favorite moments from any of the Lil Peep that I've been listening to was Lil Tracy's verse on here, where he says, "Don't call me Hellboy, I got fire in my blunt. Don't call me emo. Don't call me punk."
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah,
That's such a good line.
I
It's
don't
so
even know
good.
why.
It's
It's like
so
not
fucking good.
even. I guess because we're talking about, we had to get into like, the rock stuff. Are they rockers or whatever? And they're probably tired of that discussion. And also, I mean, there's another song. I think it was a song you were. Is it your favorite? No, I don't think it's that one. But it's one of the songs on Castles too. Lil Tracy is like, yeah, I'm a loser. I'm a poser. I'm an outsider or something. You get the feeling that he was like a black nerd in high school or something, and just like no one liked him. And then he's so happy to have found these people who have like the same aesthetic as him or something. And I also just love that verse for how he just leaves off the sound off of every like line. Like he doesn't say like punk, he says like pong. Don't
Punk.
call me pong. I'm a vampire, bitch. We count money up. Yeah, that verse is really cool.
I like how he sticks with the vampire shtick too.
Yeah, he does a
He's
lot of
really good
vampire
about
shit. Yeah,
keeping. Yeah, he definitely keeps that going.
Lil Tracy is a revelation. I didn't know. I mean, I knew he was a really close collaborator, but I thought he was kind of like just like the best friend or like the guy who was around. But I love his shit, man. Like, and
But little did you know he was a goth boy clique staple.
yeah, I didn't. I mean, yeah, we were going through like the names of the Goth Boy Clique people. There's like 10 of them. I thought it was just Lil Tracy and Lil Peep, but yeah, Lil Tracy rocks. He likes to rap more than Lil Peep, but like when he's singing or when he's just doing like the monotone like emo shit, it's always seamless with Lil Peep. The Awful Things feature is great and it just fits in so well. So the song they played when I crashed against the wall, I love that one because it's so well produced. You have this the acoustic guitar backing, and then it kind of speeds up when Lil Tracy comes in, which lends his verse like a lot of urgency. It's really good. And then I just like that one in general. What did you like off Hellboy?
Off Hellboy, it was either that or Oh My Fucking God, OMFG,
Yeah, that one I love
which
that one too.
oh, it's really good, and I kind of have to give it up to the producer. I think it's Nedarb
Hmm.
on that track because of the I believe it was a microphones song that was sampled on that track, which is ridiculous. But I think I liked a lot. I think that I like that a lot because of the hook and just the utter despair contained within the lyrics here, and just because of the sheer catchiness of the track as a whole.
Yeah, I
Um,
love the yeah, when they're playing the sample and it's just like these guitar acoustic guitars with the reverb on it, and then the drop comes
oh
in, and
yeah.
it's like this is a certified hood classic. Eventually, once we get more dedicated to this show, I might need to like get all the Gangsta Grills drops and shit and put them throughout the show.
I was gonna make a meme that had like Robbie Basho playing guitar, and I was gonna have like it say this is a certified hood classic, like in eerie lettering above the neck of his guitar. I think you did too, but I lost it when I heard that like faintly.
Yeah, I mean the first like three times I heard that song, I just started cracking up. Also, if any Stitch Gang fans want to make us a drop, I'm trying to make a Stitch Gang drop out of the Birdman Rich Gang drop, and I tried it, but I couldn't get it to work. So,
How did you go about doing it?
well, I just grabbed the part where he says Rich Gang, and then I grabbed another part where he says like st. It's
Oh.
if you're saying a different word, it's not gonna sound like you're gonna say Stitch if you just put them
Mhm.
together. Yeah, so it failed. I'm not good at audio
It
Photoshop.
was a valiant effort. I applaud your efforts. That sounds like you put some
Someday
work
there
into
will
that.
be a drop on here.
Yeah.
Just like,
Someday Birdman will do a fucking drop for
yes,
us.
Stitch gang. I can't wait. That's gonna be a magical day.
I feel like another one of my favorite songs, and it goes back, but I honestly I feel like probably when I think about it more so, the song "Stop the Car" is probably my favorite Peep track thus far. I listened to that so much, like I had it blasting the other day, and I had a Jehovah's Witness knocking on my door, so I couldn't hear them, but I could see them, but I didn't let up because I was rocking out in my kitchen.
So did you read that he actually said he was okay? So when he passed away, a lot some people were pointing out that his fans were going after his alleged drug dealer, and it was sort of similar to how people went after Courtney Love when Kurt Cobain died. And of course, he has a song called Cobain, and he said he wanted to be the new Cobain, which is which is great. Well, not great, but well, he talks about dying, like not being long for this world so much. He's very fatalistic. But there's a song called Cobain with Lil Tracy on Hellboy. He says, "Call me Cobain, she could see the pain." Yeah, it's a very so what it made me think of is that it's a very narrow interpretation of Kurt Cobain's life. I mean, but of course, because that's where our interpretation of Cobain is. He died of drugs and his songs sounded sad. So he must have been very sad and he must have loved to do drugs. So here's my interpretation of that. Here's how many drugs I do, and here's how
Yeah,
sad I am.
yeah,
Where I mean, I
exactly.
think Cobain was he was I mean, obviously he was a drug addict towards the end, but he was also like a critic of society. He was also sad because he saw he thought society was messed up, and that's part of like what made him misanthropic, where I feel all the pain in Lil Peep is very like internal.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
it's like being in your head and being lonely and being unable to form like real relationships, but it's none of it is like about society actually.
No, it's and that's what and that was the that's what I was going to note. That's something that doesn't really make that comparison too compelling nor strong. And depending upon whom you believe, Kurt Cobain did not commit suicide. His death, he was murdered, and it was by Courtney Love.
Yeah, yeah, but I think Lil Peep's interpretation of Kurt Cobain's life is pretty in line with people who like rap and also wear like Nirvana shirts.
And when going through all of these songs and reading the lyrics, I felt real bad. Like I had to really feel for him, and all the interviews I read, he seemed like a legitimately sad person, and I felt really bad, but it also kind of helped inspire a lot of great songs.
One of if we talk about the drugs, one thing you see over and over, which I think you might hear talked about in the context of his death and how fans were cheering him on. Like some people would post, "Oh, everyone's sad that Lil Peep died, but they were always like, yeah, pop another Xan, drink some more lean." And it's like, well, first of all, like I don't know who when people post shit like that, it's about like very non-specific strawman.
Hmm.
But Lil Peep made me realize the meaning of the word romanticize, which is to like it literally means to conflate a thing with romance. So if you like romanticize a car, you're saying like, man, me and my wife before we got married, we used to drive out in the Corvette to the drive-in, and it's like, okay, he's romanticizing the Corvette. It's like that's why the
Hmm.
Corvette is awesome. What Lil Peep does is he talks about drugs like next to relationships and doesn't and just erases like any barriers between them.
Yeah, and he like equates the feelings that he gets when he takes drugs to a lot of like emotional experiences with somebody of the opposite sex.
Yeah, I thought like, man, I'm forgetting what song. Oh, I think it's on Fucked Up. Yeah, like the Fucked Up, or it's on the end of you. What's that song?
You said.
Yeah, it's on
You
the end
said.
of You Said, or on Hellboy. It's called Fucked Up. I can still feel your touch. I still do those same drugs. That's like one of the best lines Lil Peep has. It's like, but yeah, but it romanticizes drugs. It's like there's no reason to conflate these two. So yeah, there's a lot of lines like that, like cocaine love goes straight to your brain. Uh, just like I'm waiting for a call, so I'm getting high, and it's like, well, you don't have to get high just because you're waiting for a call. And also, it sounds like if you got the call, you would just go and get high anyway. But anyway, I guess that was his brain just trying to relate everything to drugs.
The song, your favorite song, the song they played when I crashed into the wall, he goes on about how the drugs are calling him, and then
Yeah.
oh man, it's just so sad, honestly.
Poor
dude.
Yeah. I mean, but a lot of it is, I think a lot of it is pretty beautiful. Maybe that's how he'll be, he might be the next Cobain. Who knows? I don't I don't know.
It's definitely, it's kind of like on some Velvet Underground shit where it's like, his homie does a lot of drugs and it helps fuel his art, and it's kind of part of his appeal.
I can
that he Go ahead.
Yeah, I can definitely see the 16-year-olds who are into him now growing up and then forgetting about it, and then a whole new group of 16-year-olds coming in and being like, actually, Lil Peep was one of the greatest artists of all time. And then I'll be like 50 and be like, leave me alone. I'll be like, listen to my podcast about Lil Peep. Back when you had to download podcasts.
I did a podcast on Lil Peep so many years ago. It was lit. At that point, lit won't be cool anymore. Drugs and shit, dude.
Yeah. Oh, also about the song they played when I crashed against the wall. He brought in he got kind of pop punk with that because he got into like small town blues and trying to get away from stuff, getting away from like a boring life. I kind of like that because at least it related the angst to something. And you could see that in his biography. I mean, apparently he was born to, two Harvard grads and lived in upstate New York, and then ended up dropping out of school and moving to LA to become an artist. So it seems like he had very like realistic prospects for a very boring life. So I feel like that kind of rebel attitude is really appealing to people too.
And it's really impressive how much he was able to accomplish in just 2 years. I feel like that the quality of his material that was the result of just such a short run really shows that he was on the verge of doing something really great.
Yeah, I think I think the next few projects would have been great. Though I think Hellboy by itself is a pretty huge accomplishment. But yeah, the work ethic is amazing. I mean, 4 full lengths in 2 years. He obviously loves Gucci Mane. He has a song named after Gucci Mane, so that Gucci Mane work ethic. One thing I was wondering was so a big reason a lot of this stuff is not on Spotify is because of all the samples, unlicensed samples. I'm kind of curious what direction. I didn't look up the samples for Come Over When You're Sober. I wonder what they were though, because
there was a brand new sample on the Bright Side, yeah. But that was the only major sample on that record. The rest was all in studio instrumentation.
That's cool, yeah. I wonder like what direction he would have gone to, because it's not easy to license the Cranberries, I bet. And I think he would have he was signed to like Warner Sweden or something like that. So he was ready to put out like studio albums. So I wonder how his like guitar driven process would have evolved once he got off SoundCloud, and it wasn't just like giving Charlie Shuffler random SoundCloud producers like acoustic tracks and being like, yo, chop this up and put some 808s on it, which seems like was probably...
Hey, bro, here's some Mountain Goats, chop this shit, bro. That was also a thought I had as well in researching Come Over When You're Sober, and his alignment with Rob Cavallo, who's done work with Green Day and My Chemical Romance. and helped kind of contribute to this more polished project.
Wow, that
And
guy was involved in and Come Over When You're Sober.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's great.
And I can't help but feel like it was an accomplishment for him, considering that he's worked with a lot of acts whom he considered influences.
Yeah, I bet.
And so I was just super curious about what a second part would sound like, and hopefully we do get that.
Yeah, we might still hear that. In the interview we mentioned last week with Charlie XCX, she talks about having made a song with Lil Peep in LA, I think, but not wanting to put it out. So that would have been incredible to hear.
I'm gonna start a petition, man.
Yeah. I think like it sounds like a lot of the people who were around him, the producers, are trying to make sure they kind of ride the wave. So I think there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out, you know?
Yeah, I've definitely seen. I think I saw Horsehead tweet about having a lot of material that was unreleased, and and it seems like a different feature pops up every other week. Like you sent me the Juicy J track he was on.
Yeah, that just came out today. Yeah.
Yeah, and then last week they premiered a track he'd done with the producer Marshmello.
I thought that Juicy J track was really awkward. He didn't fit there. Also, it's just like I don't really like that Wiz Khalifa Juicy J thing. I don't really like. They're both very monotonous rappers.
It's weird when I think about the question I posed to you earlier about whether or not Lil Peep is rap. In that track, it sounded like he was trying to rap, and it sounded mad weird.
Yeah, I mean,
Like it wasn't. He wasn't using his normal cadence and his normal flow, and it sounded hella awkward. And there were like no effects on his vocals whatsoever, so it was super weird.
yeah, that probably contributed to a lot. Also, the beat was kind of just a generic trap beat, which I think he understands that. You know, the guitar driven sound is where he belongs. I wonder if he would have like, if before SoundCloud, before like Tumblr, he probably would have just been in like a band, right?
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah. I wonder. And he was just so young, so it's weird. So it's kind of hard to say whether or not that would have even been like a thought he had. Well, he mentions that he wrote songs for other people, and I'm just curious as to what he wrote and what his musical background was. I think he mentions he played trumpet at some point.
Yeah, I think I saw that too. It's kind of how we talked about with on our very first episode, part 1, about Chief Keef and Thoughtbreaker, how kind of hip hop is swallowing everything else. And I guess maybe that's why I thought rap rock was coming back, because I thought eventually it would swallow up the rap world, the rap genre, and then I think Lil Peep would have done it. But anyway, where is some other shit that I wanted to mention? Oh yeah, one thing I just wanted to point out for the mixing on. So I don't know. I guess I wanted to get your opinion on the audio quality. I was mostly listening to Hellboy on my headphones. The mixing is just horrible, and Lil Peep, I mean, it's a pretty good effect, but it fits his personality and what he's trying to do. But on every track, his voice had zero presence. You know, like when you listen to rap, you can sometimes hear, you know, like when I listen to like Waka Flocka, I can hear his throat. With Lil Tracy, it was mixed, so it was just the treble, and it was so much reverb that it sounded like he was like a ghost haunting every track, or not even a ghost. He was like a fog,
A somewhat nasally apparition.
yeah. And it's just kind of like he wasn't sitting anywhere in the mix, but he was overseeing the mix, you know.
Yeah.
And when someone else would get on, like Lil Tracy or someone who was like at least trying to rap, you would actually get some more boom on the track, and it was like, oh, okay, like it's not all supposed to sound like static, you know. But it is, and it didn't sound as like tinny on say Come Over When You're Sober, but but I don't know, what did you think?
Considering that I listen to a lot of music that is pretty lo-fi, it wasn't too terrible. If anything, I feel like it helped with the aesthetic. So like when you listen to like a lot of post punk or anything of the sort, there's reverbs pretty much like, that's like you do it. It's
Mhm.
just something you do. And I feel like that helps with his general aesthetic. But it's interesting that you do mention his voice and his vocals sounding a little tinny on Come Over When You're Sober. That's
Mhm.
definitely something I noticed. The reverb wasn't nearly as overtaking as it was on Hellboy or some of the other tracks,
Mhm.
which is a really good point. But I feel like it helped the overall aesthetic. And when you think about the goth boy clique, I feel like that definitely helps with the sound. And I feel like that's a staple of the group's sound.
It's kind of cool. Also, I downloaded it from DatPiff, whereas everything else I was listening to on I was listening to on Spotify on my extreme audio quality. So that might,
And your hi-fi headphones.
yeah, yeah. I'm people you can't see, but I'm wearing some nice $150 headphones. How much do your headphones cost?
Well, they're Beats, but I didn't pay for them. They were a Christmas gift. So.
Oh, what, this Christmas?
Suck it, Dre. No, I've had them for a minute. I never use them because I feel hella weird traveling with them or just taking them anywhere.
Oh.
Because a guy I know that moved to Bushwick like 7 years ago was wearing Beats and he got robbed by a bunch of 14-year-olds.
I mean, that would be.
So I'm not trying
I
to.
think 7 years ago
I'm
they
not
were
trying to get
hot,
jacked like
but
that.
but
Yeah,
Albuquerque's
exactly.
behind on the fashion. So Bushwick 7 years ago, Albuquerque now. You're gonna get robbed for for the
Yeah,
beats.
yeah, that's what's up. But and one thing I was thinking, and it's an absurd thought about Lil Peep, is that I can't help but feel that this is what Witch House could have turned into had it been co-opted by people that were cool, you know? Because in likenesses alone, I see like an aesthetic like similarity between Lil Peep and like John Boy and Jack from Salem, you know? But I can't help but feel like this is what it might have turned into or led to because there are definitely instances in like some Witch House tracks where they have people rapping over the beats
Yeah.
and if you aren't familiar with Witch House, it's more or less just like trap beats with like eerie synths and shit over it, and in some instances like scary samples and what have you. But
Oh, another thing I wanted to say was that if you first listen to Come Over When You're Sober and you keep going earlier and earlier like I did, you see how less polished he is and how much more he talks about bitches and how much more disrespectful he is. And you can kind of see him I mean, he's also like getting older, so he's probably like less of a shitty teenager, but you can kind of see him cleaning up his act. There's not like cocaine in my nose and my dick all in her butt. Like, there's nothing like that on Come Over When You're Sober.
that's not true, dude. Did
Yeah?
you read the lyrics to Ben's Truck?
That one, that one's kind of
But
a
that might
throwback.
be that might play into what you're saying because that track was track was released pretty well in advance to the record's official release.
Mhm.
So that may like fall somewhere along that timeline for sure.
Yeah, because that one is marked as like Ben's Truck remix. So I think it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
remade for that album. So yeah, that's kind of like like old peep
And when you say old Peep, it was like,
year
a
and a
year
half.
into his career or some shit like that.
Yeah, but I definitely think he was kind of like thinking like, oh, I should, this can be mainstream. This is not just like having fun with my friends. I don't know how conscious that was, but
And it kind of goes back to the thoughts, and you can't help but wonder like what kind of evolutions he would have made as both like an artist and as a person in general.
mhm.
And and especially with the acceptance of him by it seemingly more mainstream outlets and a lot of the fashion industry. So I just can't help but figure like I can't help but think about all like the super like dope collabs he could have done and all the music he could have made.
And the non-dope collabs
Yeah,
once he got
hopefully
very
a
big.
Lil Pump collab or a Taylor Swift collab or some shit.
Yeah, I'm thinking like it's like the lamest Lil Peep collab there could be. I mean, he did do a song with Wiz Khalifa. Maybe like whatever Lil Peep song would have been on a soundtrack would have been just the absolute worst. Um,
I'm trying to think about him like hopping on a like an Ed Sheeran track or something.
How's
A
that?
track upon which Ed Sheeran bodies him, like Ed Sheeran bodied Future on that Taylor Swift song.
Oh, it's I haven't listened to that. It's Taylor Swift, Future, and Ed Sheeran.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Ed Sheeran just straight up like
I,
bodies Future on some Usher shit.
oh,
It's so
well,
sick.
I think the era of Future's over. I think.
You know what? I was having that very same thoughts when I was like thinking about his output and Thugger's output last year.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel like maybe their best days are behind them, but for Thugger, I really hope they aren't. I feel like Future would be a hard dude to vibe with. You
I
know,
mean, he
like
has a good. I don't know. He works with a lot of people. I mean, what other has he done other collabs?
he did that Drake collab
Oh
tape.
yeah, that was bad. Yeah, but people
That
people
had
like a couple of those tracks though. Like they love Jumpman, but I don't think
like
they like Future's part on it. Actually, you know.
no, yeah, because it was just like him repeating Nobu and him repeating Dope Man, which I thought was tight. Honestly, I dug. I think my favorite tracks on the tape were Jumpman and Diamonds Dancing, which I saw a dancer dance to at a strip club like last year, and it was like the most incredible experience I've ever had in a strip club.
Diamonds Dancing is the best track on that album, but the demo with only Future is way better. Have you listened to the
Oh,
demo?
really? I haven't listened
Oh
to that.
shit, you gotta check it out. It's so good.
You're an asshole for saying the demo as well, for preferring the demo version.
Oh, is it? Should I even call it a demo in hip hop? I don't know. This is our podcast where we talk about
Stupid
rap and we call
everything.
everything records. So
Records.
of course the demo is going to be better. Okay, yeah. So I think that's the Lil Peep episode. We'll see you next week. That I think we're gonna do dedication 6 with the special guest. I have to confirm. We should do that. We could talk about Cupcake too. Have you listened to that?
Oh, of course. Dude. I listened to the whole thing the night it dropped,
Mm-hmm.
and then I listened to it on my runs for the next 2 days after that.
Oh shit, cool. Damn, let's do an episode on that then. We'll see if we can fit it in. I have to go to California, so yeah. So subscribe on Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description if you use Apple or use whatever podcatcher you have. And tell a friend tell your friend if they listen to at least one new rap song a month. Like they'll probably like it. If they only like Wu-Tang Clan, then don't tell them, I guess.
Yeah. If their favorite MC is Big L, for sure, they won't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see you next week. Stitching out.
Peace.